Dr. Sitaram. Good morning and welcome back again to the program Addiction and Recovery. We have been speaking about those people who would have made resolutions over the New Year holiday, to stop drinking or stop using drugs. And even those congratulations to those who have made it so far. As I said, January is usually considered a dry month, because a lot of people have made a resolution and they are managing to keep it. And for those, I would really like to compliment them and encourage them. And for those who may have faltered, I want to let you know that, this is a disease. A lot of people think it's a bad habit, but it's a disease where relapse is sometimes part of recovery. And I'll say that going back to the lead up to the program earlier, we heard about three friends, three important friends from the documentary that was presented. But I also want to say this: there's another three types of people when it comes to addiction. There are those who would read and listen and learn. And they are the smartest people in the world. Those who can read and listen and learn from the experience of others, so that a person may live a whole life, do all the research, read all the books, and then write a book with the condensation of all that knowledge. And you can sit in maybe a half an hour, 2 hours, or in a few days and read the whole volume. And you can benefit from all of that person's work. And so too, you can benefit from a whole library of information that is there available to us. And now we have it on the internet as well. So that you don't even have to go to the library. There's so much information about addiction and recovery. And as I have mentioned, I have been posting all the programs that we have been doing on this media house on YouTube. You can go to, you type in my name, Ramnaresh Dwarika, and you type in addiction and recovery, and you'll see all the programs that have been done for more than the past year on various aspects of alcoholism and drug addiction is available there. And you can also send the link to anyone who you think may benefit from that experience. So the first type of people are the smartest, that they can read and listen and learn, because they don't have to make the mistakes themselves. They can learn from the mistakes and the hard work of other people that they have put in, and they could benefit and make their lives better. So too, you can listen to people who have had experience. I know in Alcoholics Anonymous, for instance, you have people who are sponsors, who have been sober for many, many years, and they are able to pass that information on to newcomers, so that you don't have to make the mistakes. Some of them may have relapsed while trying to stay sober, and now they can point out those little pitfalls so that you can avoid them and you don't have to make the same mistakes. So again, those are the smartest. Then you have the second group. Those are people who would read, listen, experience, and then learn. Because there are many of us, we are so strong-willed, and we are so, dogged determination we have, that we just don't believe what people say. We have been misled so many times. We don't trust what people say, or even some of the things we read. If we don't know about them, we question them, and nothing is wrong with that. I learned when you go to university, even things that are written in books, you challenge them, because some theories might be outdated and may be wrong. So nothing is wrong with that. And these are people who would read, listen, but they have to go and test it themselves. They go and they try to do it on their own, and then they may relapse, like some of you probably have done, and then realize, I can't do this alone. I need to get help. And eventually they will make it, because they will seek the help that is necessary for them to make it. But then there's a third group who is reading, who is listening, who is experiencing the problems still, and still not learning. And you sitting listening there, you might think, but these are really dumb people. They have to be stupid. But no, that's typical alcoholic and drug addict. Because I can speak for myself. I knew it was not good. My parents, everybody said, you shouldn't drink alcohol. I saw my grandfather drinking and I knew how he got into trouble with his drinking. I saw neighbors destroy their life, people in the community destroy their lives and lose respect and die because of drinking alcohol. But that didn't stop me reading in books and listening to other people and even observing. I had to go and find out for myself. So I know I should be, and this is typical alcoholic and drug addict behavior. No, that will not happen with me. I am not so stupid. I will never allow myself to reach to that. But I'll tell you something, alcoholism and drug addiction is a disease, but it is progressive. Once you continue to drink, it is just a question of time. So you listening out there who's saying like I used to, that will never happen to me. You have to add a little words, a very small English word called YET, yet. You just add the word. It hasn't happened yet. But if you continue to drink, it's just a question of time. That and more will happen. And I have seen that. I've been working in the field for the last 40 years. I've seen so many people who said, no, 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 no. I am never going to be that person who, going to take that drink in the morning or all the other, we have a tendency to only look at the people who are worse than us and say, I am not going to become like him or her. That will never happen. But we're never looking at the people who have done better than us, And when we do, sometimes it leads to a certain level of frustration because you realize your friends from school are doing so well. They've gone on with their lives. Some have become doctors, lawyers, professionals, engineers, and they are doing, they have all the wherewithal, the house and the land and the car and the status and all of that. And you are still marking time in one spot. And that is what was happening with my life. After 18 years of drinking, I was still like not even marking time in the same spot. There's a retrograde step, where you start losing the respect of the people around you. You start losing the confidence in yourself. My health started to deteriorate. My ability and confidence began to be eroded. I felt unless I took a few drinks, I can't feel adequate to the situation. I wouldn't have been able to be speaking to an audience like this if I didn't have a few drinks in those days prior to 1983. So I am aware of what goes on in the alcoholic and the drug addict's head. We always tell ourselves, no, 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 that's not going to happen with me. And people around us can't understand how an intelligent man or woman like you, with so much education, come from such a good family, how you can't see what is happening. And this is why the alcoholic or the drug user keep it a secret because we know. We know what society is thinking. We know what is expected of us. And this is why we hide it and we pretend outside there. We are dying inside, but we're smiling outside to present to the world that, look, everything is okay. And if you hear the drink in the rum shop, he will boast and brag that his family has everything, they're not deprived of anything, and his children are doing well, although his children don't have the shoes or the books to go to school when they need it. And they can't sleep in the night because he's fighting with the other partner in the house, and as I say, this teachers and employers, and we all have to be aware of these signs and symptoms. You have children coming to school and sleeping in the class because they didn't sleep all night, because mommy and daddy were fighting because daddy went and drink. Or mommy, if daddy went and drink, mommy is still able to hold the fort sometimes. But if mommy starts drinking, well, or in this culture, I think everything is lost. When the woman in the house starts drinking, then there's nobody. Men are not really quite able, very few men are able to hold it together if the wife is an alcoholic. Because, the wife is really the person who's transfers the values of the community and the family to the children most of the time, because they're spending more time with the child. So, but that's a topic for another subject. I want to speak to those people who would have declared that they are going to stop. And today is the 9th of January, and they're doing well, and I want to congratulate them. And I want to let you know that, look, you don't have to, some of the strategies for staying stopped, and not only stopping, but staying stopped comfortably. You want to be happy about it. Because the truth is, for all the years that a person has been drinking, alcohol becomes like a crutch. We start finding utilitarian value for it, or the other drugs. We use it to help us to cope. We use it when we are angry. We use it when we are sad. We use it to feel better about ourselves. We use it to bolster our confidence, like I mentioned earlier. We use it to deal with disappointment. A whole lot of, so that we become psychologically dependent. Our body becomes physically dependent in that if we don't take it, we can't sleep. So a lot of people have been self-medicating with alcohol or other drugs to deal with anxiety and depression and all of that. And so that for all of these people who have become physically dependent or psychologically dependent, they need to get additional help. The unfortunate thing is that, you know, we have been mismanaging this generally. I worked at Cora Hospital, I worked at Ward 8 in Port of Spain, I worked at St. Anne's Hospital, I worked at Ward 1 Hospital in San Fernando, I worked at Uva Hospital as well, in the psychiatric unit there, and all over this country. And the point is, you know, I'm seeing even in my practice here, a lot of people, especially the middle and upper classes, if they have a problem with depression or anxiety, because in those circles, there seems to be a culture of drug dependence. And I'm not saying illicit drug dependence. I'm speaking about here prescription pill dependence. In most of these homes, you have a medicine cabinet, and you would see a lot of the older folks, you know, the ancestors and the grandfathers and the father and parents and mothers and so on, often going to the medicine cabinet when they can't sleep to take a sleeping pill or to take something that the doctor has prescribed, the psychiatrist has prescribed for the anxiety or the depression, because they are all involved in highly stressful situations. A lot of them are professionals dealing with highly stressful job situations, or maybe business people dealing with competing interests and mortgages and financial problems, and then there are those people who are dealing with estrangement and divorce, and you know, and even though you are in upper and middle class and upper class society, you know, those societies are dog. You know, there's a lot of problems of relationship issues where he's working and she's working, and I see it in my practice because I do marital counseling here as well, where it's my money and your money, and how do we decide who will pay for what, and there's a lot of misplaced expectations of each other, and a lot of times we don't just have time to spend with each other because of our job, our children. We are not always available to them, and they are being babysit by strangers, the caregivers, and or the television, and starting to become spoiled brats because they are we overcompensate them because we are working for the money, and we use the justification that I don't want my children to have to go through what I did, and the children are only happy to take you for all they could get, and they see the parents as an ATM. They just have to press the right buttons, and they get the money and they get what they want. And so these children will be the next generation of drug users. I'm saying this because they're not learning to postpone gratification. They are growing up with a culture of when I want something, I want it right away and I must have it. And they are not learning to work for it or to even wait for it. They must have it right away. And that is one of the basic underpinnings of drug addiction, the inability to postpone gratification. So that I'm saying that a lot of people, would have seen their ancestors taking these pills, and they grew up in that culture, and that has been the norm. If you can't sleep, you go take something. If you're feeling anxious, you take something. And then you take something for everything. You're taking something to sleep, you're taking something to keep you awake. And the drug companies have done such a good PR with our brains that we believe that we always have to be dependent on, pediatric this to geriatric that. We're always on some pill or some supplement that we can't exist without it. And I am seeing that every day. And I'm saying to people who come and visit me, my patients, that listen, if you eat the right foods, right? And the right food is not the most expensive food, right? You'll find some of the best foods are the cheapest. For instance, I've often used the analogy, even on this program, where there was this old lady in my community where I grew up who would come selling yogurt, dahi we call it, every day, penny a cup. And dahi yogurt is one of the best foods under heaven. It is almost pre-digested. It is the most gentle food you can put on your stomach. In fact, people with stomach problems often use dahi to help themselves and heal it. And and it's full of protein and all the nutrients because it is a very good milk product. And she would be selling this for penny a cup, and nobody wants it. Because in those days, of course, everybody have cows and they could make their own dahi and so on. But in the same community, you have people who have become addicted to alcohol because it was a cane estate community where most of the people working in the cane estate got paid, went in the rum shop after they work every day and drank. And these would be the people 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, their hands shaking, they could barely talk. And they had the little hole in the rum shop. I wouldn't want to call the name of these rum shop keepers in my community, but they will be begging these people, these rum shop owners to come and sell them that alcohol because it was like, their life depended on it. And we who were seeing that happening still went on to drink. And we will not buy the things that are healthy. And alcohol has always been very expensive, not only to buy the alcohol, but after you drink the alcohol, it can cost you a lot because how much furniture is destroyed, how much relationship is destroyed, how many cars are crashed, how many hospital beds are occupied because of alcohol and drug use, how many people are sitting in the prisons because of alcohol and drug use. The social costs for alcoholism and drug addiction far outweighs any benefit by way of taxes that we could be getting from alcohol and drugs. However, it's a political thing, and politicians are a different breed of people. They go by what the public want, and I dare say that usually the population gets the leaders they deserve because you vote for them, because you prefer not to do the research. And if you yourself are corrupt, you're going to put corrupt people up there. And I'm saying that I know it will not sit well with a lot of people listening to the program. But think about it. We are not insisting on leaders with integrity. We had people with integrity and we disowned them, we put them down. Anyway, that's another topic. But coming back to those people who might have slipped since they made their resolution, I want to let you know that that is a very valuable experience that you can learn from. At least it should teach you that you can't be complacent, that now you need to get additional help. And we have done, when I was at Cora, I was part of a team that did a research, myself and a few other colleagues, and we looked at people who had come into Cora for treatment, and then they went back into their communities. And yes, while they were there for the 6 weeks, they did not have drugs available to them, so they stayed sober. But as soon as they went back into their villages, in their communities, in a little while, they relapsed. You know why? Because they did not want to go to a Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous in their communities because they did not want anybody to know that they were dealing with an alcohol or drug problem. A lot of them, when they came to Cora Hospital, their families would be telling the neighbors, he gone for a holiday. He gone abroad, they will never want them to know that they went to seek help for alcoholism. It is also one of the reasons that the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Center, what used to be the Alcohol Treatment Center at St. Anne's Hospital, was moved from there because of the stigma associated with St. Anne's Hospital. You only have to hear that somebody gone to St. Anne's, someone of your friends went to St. Anne's, and you'll say in the old days, you say, oh gosh, they go in and get their papers, their mad papers, so they could kill anybody after that. That's the stigma associated with going to St. Anne's. And that is wrong. You know, any human being can become mentally ill as well. Mental illness is just like diabetes, hypertension, and all of that. But we as a society do not have tolerance for people with mental illness or alcoholism or drug addiction. You know, and it is not their fault. Some of these people are born with the genetic predisposition. They had no choice in the matter. Just like we inherit our complexion, our ethnicity, our mannerisms, height, everything from our ancestors, so too we can inherit their alcoholism. If we have alcoholism in our ancestry, it may not be our father, but it could be our grandfather or great grandfather on mother's side or father's side. So while it is not your fault, once you realize you have a problem though with alcohol, it becomes your responsibility to do something about it because you need to break the chain, that chain of addiction. Otherwise, you are going to pass it on to your children and grandchildren as well. However, today, I can speak to my children because I have stopped drinking. If I had continued to drink, I will not have the moral authority to speak to them. Because first, you know, this thing about do as I say and not as I do, that never worked then, and it will never work even now. So that I'm saying to you, even if you relapse, it may not have been your fault, but you can go back and change yesterday. You can learn from it. And you can, everyone listening to this program, whether you're alcoholic or not, I'm saying to you directly here now, you may not say, well, look, I just take a drink now and then. I'm not an alcoholic. But everyone who became alcoholic started with a first drink. And alcoholism is a respect of no one. Whether you're a pundit, whether you're a priest, a pastor, a Molvi, a doctor, a lawyer, or anybody, once you start drinking, the body will develop tolerance. And if you start becoming psychologically dependent, and let me give an example, you know, I have to take a drink before I eat, that's psychological dependence. I have to take one so that I get a good night's sleep, that's psychological dependence. Once you start becoming psychologically dependent and you're using it as a medication, you are on the road to addiction. So let me say this again. Not everybody who drinks will become alcoholic. Not everybody who drinks will become alcoholic. But everybody who became alcoholic or drug addict started with that first drink. And for years told themselves that I am never going to become an alcoholic. No one wants to be an alcoholic. He didn't or she did not start off wanting to be an addict to alcoholic, but it has to take that first one. And that is the first one that you have to avoid. If you are going to make it, this is the formula that is used by Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, all the other anonymous fellowships. You avoid the first one, the first substance, pill, drug, food, whatever you're addicted to, or behavior. You know, you could become addicted to certain behaviors. You avoid that, like gambling. You avoid that first bet, one day at a time. You just tell yourself, I'm not going to, no first drink, no drunk. No first bet, no gamble. You understand? No first chocolate, no obesity. You understand? So that there's a saying, I advise young people, if you do not want to go in a certain direction, you don't even look that way. Because if you look that way, you are going to see something to attract you. So there's so many other things we can use. Good food, as I was saying, there's Morbi, there's sea moss, there's so many beautiful drinks we have in the Caribbean here that we could make from fruit, guava and mango, and you name it. Why alcohol? You understand? There's so many other things we can, but you see, it's a cultural thing. If someone came to your house and you gave them CMOS, or you gave them Mobi, or you gave them something, milk or anything, they are very well going to go and tell their friends, I went to the man's house and he gave me a drink, because those things are not seen as a drink. That is the culture here. But we have to change that mindset. We have to let people know that, look, if you eat properly, as I was saying, you exercise, you rest, you maintain the right attitude to life, your body has the ability to make all that it needs, all the vitamins. And the body don't store vitamins. We just take it, and if the body don't need it, we excrete it. So a lot of people are taking supplements and just throwing away their money. If you just eat the right foods, green leafy vegetables, fruits, and all of that, and you have the right attitude to life, you make sure you exercise a bit and sleep, you will not need all of these things. So I know when we're speaking about these things, we are running out of time. We just have a few minutes left. I want to let all our listeners know that this program is being recorded. It will be posted on Facebook, YouTube at the end. You can access it again, or you can refer it. It will also be replayed on radio and TV Jagriti at 10 o'clock tonight. So you can listen to it again when you have time. And it's every Thursday from 9 to 10, the program here. And if anyone has a question, you can reach me at 671-3040. That is 671-3040. If you have any questions, and if you need any further help, or if you would like to know where there are places you could go to get help, meetings that are available, physical meetings or online meetings, I would be only too happy to give you the information. If you can't have my number, you can call the radio station. They'll give it to you as well. So I want to thank all of you for listening, and to remind you again that this program is repeated at 10 p.m. tonight, and we'll be on next week, Thursday again. I want to again compliment all those people who are staying sober. You get up in the morning, you pray to God of your understanding, ask them to keep you sober. You stay away from people, places, and situations where drink is available. You keep your stomach full. If you're getting the urge, you take something sweet. Or if you're still having difficulty, of course, you have the meetings you can attend every night. And any further questions, you can reach me at 671-3040. So I thank you, and thank the radio station. Thank Jason and Bimal and all the people at Jagriti there who facilitate this program. So thank you all very much.